Yo, yo.
Hey, we are live. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Hey, it's been an exciting week for the both of us. You know, you're moving and you got baby stuff happening. And I had a couple really neat Zoom calls this week. You and I are technique junkies, and always trying to get better, especially during this downtime. So let's get into it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So I guess the first thing that is interesting to me is just the whole, like, the technical side of you kind of hosting practices with different people teaching. Like, so for how is that working, and how are you like managing just the interaction, I guess?
You know, it's really fun because basically I set it up like a workout for my son, you know, but then it wouldn't be nearly as good of a workout if I wasn't directing the action. If I just let them go, hey, teach them something.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd go, oh, what do you want me to teach? And, you know, it's more like, hey, this is what I want to see. This is what I want to know about your training and development. This is, you know, what were you thinking during this match? What were you thinking in this stage in your development? What are you doing right now? Show us this, show us that, show us this, show us that. What do you think? Watch us do it. So that's kind of how it's been. It's been really awesome, you know, awesome. And actually I got more contact with these people than I have when we're not in quarantine, right? Everybody's available too.
Yeah. That's great. You know, it's like, I know you don't have anything to do. I know, you know,
we got stuff to do, but you know, they're generally a lot more available than they have.
Right. So just going down like the list of, so it started with Mr. Diakomilhalis, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And then
Aaliyah.
also had
Aaliyah.
And then he would outside step into a high crotch, a lefty high crotch with a right leg lead. Yeah, but he would roll his head to, you know what I mean? So once you get really good at this kind of stuff, then you could really start playing what you shoot. I guess what I'm saying, Brahman, traditionally, yes, you could shoot the traditional shots we know, but the better guys then start modifying it into head outside or head inside from different positions.
And then you've also had Spencer Lee.
And with your right hand, you were pushing or
like,
snapping.
My whole offense is like this. See, like, you know, like the stupid, you know, whatever, you know, like from the Karate Kid. That's how I wrestle though. Like I don't push pull like this because like I've never been comfortable doing that. I've been taught to do that. But like I'm always like I wish I could be there so you could feel how I wrestle. I'm such a weird wrestler in that sense, because like I want to grab your arm, like DeSanto will grab your arm and just hang, and he'll like, you know, he kind of like grabs your armpit and like rubs you raw, you know. I don't do that. I just grab and I pull. Like
Kaid Brock.
With that series, the reason why I like the thumb block series is depending on their reaction is going to be your shot. So on that, when I'm here, when I get to my elbow off of it, depending on where that elbow is located, I can go on my shot or how his body's reacting.
And then Yanni. And so
Yanni was with his dad, and his dad just kind of called him over and said, hey, Yanni, show him something. You know, neither Caden nor I knew that was going to happen, so we were like,
yeah.
If I want to shoot a lefty single, I might do this. But if I want to shoot a right-handed single, I'll go for my back leg first. So, like, if you have a traditional shooting hand and you don't like to shoot with your other hand, a lot of times
we had some great FaceTime with Yanni. He's very excellent teacher and a really nice young man.
Yeah, I've really liked, like, in any interviews with him, and I've always been kind of, you know, impressed by his demeanor. He seems wiser than his age, maybe. You know, he's just very well managed, very well kept, and well spoken. And
sure,
you know, he's a Cornell guy, so I assume a lot goes into you know, reaching that level. But
I think he's about as professional of an athlete as you can be at the college level, you know.
So learn just starting with him. Did you get into like talking to him about like where he's at right now, training wise, or what he's kind of been doing himself?
So for like 6 summers in a row, I did this to this Olympic Training Center developmental camp, right? So I go to the OTC in the summer. It's this great camp. It's in July. You know, it's called the 2016 camp. That's 2020 camp. You've seen those.
Yeah. It's like, I've seen them a bunch. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I used to be one of the regular clinicians there, me with Cornell Robinson, met Andy Cook at one of those. And, it's very Missouri heavy, right? With Haggerty and Mayab. And then at the time, Cody Bickley was running the whole thing when I first got involved. And I just happened to meet him, you know, that one of the camps coincided with the Cadet World Team camp, right? And so I got to meet and work out with Spencer and Dayton and Cade Aaliyah. How do you say his last name? Cade
Levis, I think.
Levis, when he was, you know, pretty young, and all these other studs that are all like college guys now.
Yeah.
They're all college guys now. They were all like 14 at the time. Mark Hall, you know, was at these camps. Brands' son, Nelson Brands. And really I was kind of influential to them when they were at a really influential age, and worked out with them and trained with them and was part of that camp. And so I developed some relationships with those guys and just kept in touch with them over the years. And so that's how I got to know, at a separate one, I got to meet Yanni, and was his first Cadet World team. And so I'm, you know, picking his brain. I'm working out with this kid. He was probably 16 at the time. And I remember, you learn all this stuff. And he goes, "Oh, my dad." Man, I'd love to meet him. He goes, "Oh, he's sitting right there." I just got up and introduced myself, and we started chopping it up and really got along. We went out to dinner that evening and been friends ever since. And so we probably talk, you know, at least once or twice a month, and it's for an hour, and it's, you know, it's all wrestling, baby. But he's got a lot of very dogmatic life philosophies as well. Super smart guy, one of the smartest wrestling people I've ever met.
And I've heard so in different interviews with Yanni, him talk about like his development and the way that they learned and studied. You know, you could tell he's really a student of the sport, you know, and has studied, you know, his favorite wrestlers throughout time, and he's got that kind of Russian type influence in some of his situations. And you know, is that something that you're picking up from him when you're training or going through those calls?
Well, for sure. I mean, like I said, we've been talking for a long time before we ever got on the Zoom call. And so I've been picking his brain about a lot of stuff. He's given me a lot of really cool drills. That kind of started with Cade when he was 7th and 8th grader, and made a tremendous difference right away with his balance. And he's really big into wrestling off your back foot. Obviously he was a D3 guy, was not very good by his own admission, and didn't have any technique. So this is actually, I think, the coolest part about Leah and his story with his son. And a lot of this, I'm actually going to talk to him again this week, and I'm going to actually get into this on the call, and then I'll post it. I have a new membership section of my YouTube page, and so I'll post all these Zooming with the Superstars on this playlist on my YouTube page. That's Creighton Wrestling YouTube page. But Johnny was born in 1999, right? So that was my senior year in college, okay? And we're about the same age. Aaliyah's a couple years older than me, maybe 5 years older than me. And so he was born in 99, and that was the height of Tiger Woods' fame, right? So you get where I'm going with this. He basically took a Tiger Woods approach to his son in wrestling. And to hear him expound on this is super fascinating. And, you know, obviously he's not the only crazy wrestling dad that's kind of tried this approach, but he was just so much more thoughtful about everything than most people, I think. He obviously made a lot of sacrifices personally, which a lot of us do. But he's a means justify the ends guy, which I tend to be as well. And obviously it paid off because that boy is amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, you know, that, yeah, like you said, thoughtful about it. You know, like you can be a crazy wrestling dad, I think, and still be thoughtful and still raise an athlete that loves wrestling and that is caring and well put together. You know, you don't have to always be.
You know, I think it's just kind of like you got to hit the jackpot. You know, finding a kid that was tough enough to actually take what it requires to get as good as he is. You know, it really takes a tremendous amount of tolerance and endurance to be able to take what it takes to get to be a great wrestler. David Taylor told me one time, he said, you can't find a great wrestler without finding a crazy wrestling dad right behind him.
Yeah.
And just how do you define crazy? We can get into that some other time. But the thing that I find most fascinating about Yanni's technique, which comes from his father, is their ability to marry skills together. And I'm going to get into some more video series about this too in the coming months, especially if we're still in this. But like something as simple as an inside tie, right? Okay, so inside tie, snap, high crotch. We're marrying the snap to the shot, back to the snap, where they're so connected and it's so granular with the way you do it and the way your foot plants and the depth of your body, and then staying down to really get the sell of the fake so his legs actually go back and then pulling him down while you're still down there and then coming back. You know, something as simple as that, taking it to a super infinite, finite level of precision. And, you know, the one thing Kaid said after the workout is like, man, it took so much brain power.
Yeah.
To keep up with left, right, step, left, right, like left, okay, no, step over here, left, right. So many different directions and components and pieces to the skills. You know, I think me being a teacher, I might be better at simplifying complex technique, but his ability to just wrap his head around what's possible and obviously see what the foreigners are doing and able to emulate it is I've never seen anybody as good as he is. So it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah. So and just breaking it down so it's manageable. So is that kind of where you're at now? Is taking his, you know, very detailed and very, you know, specific instruction to your, you know, maybe reproducing it kind of for the masses a little bit and pushing it out so you can, you know, maybe it's a little bit more manageable for the average coach?
That's a great question. I honestly think that the stuff that they do is not for the masses. It's not for the masses. It takes too much body control and coordination for the average wrestler to do. I told Aaliyah, if I wrestled for you, I'd be better than Yanni.
Yeah.
I'm faster and stronger than him.
Right.
You know, but if I had that type of technique when I was wow. So I think that my niche and your niche is about really for making things simpler for everyday coaches that are trying to do the best they can with their team who haven't had NCAA experience, you know, haven't wrestled at that level, and giving them a window into how can I get kids to that level, even though I didn't wrestle that level. How can I get kids to that level? I don't know. That's I love the high level stuff. I love teaching. I love wrestling at every single level, but you know, this is just fun for me. Really, just I love learning and I'm fired up. My kid really got a lot out of it, and he is more motivated, I think, now from talking to having FaceTime with Yanni. And saying like, hey, I can do some of that stuff. Like that's what he left the workout for. I can do some of that stuff, or I'm going to use that. And so that's really why I did it. I'm going to continue to do it, but I love sharing this stuff with everybody. I think it's what people want to see, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm sitting there and I'm watching your YouTube videos and I'm, you know, picking it apart and listening and, you know, watching Kaid in the background. I think that's a really fun part for me just because I've seen I saw Cade when he was really, really young, and as a growing into a man and a a wrestler that you can see it in him, and he's training and he's getting bigger and he's getting stronger, and you can see his mind working. Like when Yanni's talking about the fakes and stuff, and you're seeing it's going through his head, and it's fun to see that the process really coming together, and as me putting myself in his shoes, like I couldn't even imagine, like if I'm sitting there when I'm his age and looking up to one of my idols that's just so accessible, right?
Yeah.
Like
he doesn't he doesn't get it, and I don't know if he ever really will, because he's had famous wrestlers in his house his whole life.
It's normal.
Had Pat Smith sleeping in his bed, and Jerry Abbas and David Taylor, and so he's been around a lot of good wrestling people, and we'll see. He's kind of a stoic guy, so maybe one day he'll say thanks, Dad. But I'm not holding my breath. So Spencer, let's talk about Spencer for a second.
Yeah.
He and I text all the time during the season, so I'll text him mental toughness stuff, and he texts back, and he'll say something like, "Terry will love this. Terry would love this," and he had been like kind of promising me he'd come out and do something for me for years, and just never had the opportunity to do it. Really, since he's gotten so good, it's like those Iowa guys, Terry, they're not letting him leave. You got to be here, train. Can't be doing no clinics. So this was neat and this was fun, and I think he felt like he was able to pay me back. And not that he owes me anything, but we worked out a couple times, and like I said, I think he got something from it. We just developed a spark in a relationship. Literally the most competitive person I think I've ever met. And how competitive I am.
Yeah.
But for me to even concede that to this child, this man child, is like, he's amazing. He really is amazing. And we talked more about, like, we did some film study with him, which was interesting to do. I think that helped. It helped me see what he's doing and what his mentality is. And the thing I got from the conversation with him too is he's so much above the Iowa room. It's not even funny. It's not even funny. He's so much above the Iowa room. It's not even funny. Like DeSanto can't do shit to him.
Yeah.
Okay. Gavin Teasdale can't do shit to him. Like it's almost like he can't get a workout.
He's just playing in a different league.
He's on a different level. He's on a different level.
And that was one of the things that I had written down when I see that you're talking to him, and I want to ask you, like, so the season that he had this year and the dominance that he had and the just the overall like next levelness, and it's not just the NCAA season, right? Like he had senior level matches during the same time, and so what the training is like and why why that was the choice, because there was Olympic red shirts that were taken and things like that, and so his approach to it and just going, like wrestling is wrestling, is that the mentality, or is it just like I can beat anybody right now, so I don't have to take time off?
Well, I think for him it's just freestyle. He loves freestyle. He's better at freestyle. He wants to wrestle freestyle. He's over college wrestling and folk style wrestling. He looks at it's lesser, and he's having more fun. And the thing about him that I tell people too, that I almost envy about him, is that even when I was competing at my very best, I still had tremendous amount of fear. I still was like, I'm gonna stay out of that, and I'm gonna wrestle where I want to wrestle. I had a lot more anxiety with wrestling, I think, than he does. And if he does, he hides it very well, because when he competes, it's just like, let's go. Whatever position. I just want to wrestle. Let's go. I can beat you in every position. I'm not scared of going anywhere with you. And that type of just like fearlessness on the wrestling mat is like, it's impressive. I don't see anybody else wrestling like that, including Yanni. You know, Yanni's a way more tactical wrestler. Zane, none of those guys are, you know, maybe the closest is Kyle Dake, I guess. And I mean, it's a style thing, but he's so much stronger, I think, than everybody he's wrestling. That helps. You know, that helps.
Now, so
as far as the decision to do that, I think it's all brands. I think they talked him into doing that, but I don't know.
Right. What so for, you know, and this might be just speculation, but you know, the difference of training under a Kale versus a Tom and Terry, why maybe that was for him versus not for him.
Great question. I mean, that's stuff maybe I can ask him next time we talk. But I tell you what, I'm going to talk to RBY actually right after our Zoom here this morning, our Zoom workout.
Uh-huh.
And Kale is actually the only guy that I've never got to spend any time around. I got a picture of him on my wall. I never even talked to the man. And I'm such a big Kale Sanderson fan, and of his coaching style. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in the wrestling room with the you know, his favorite coaching line to me. My favorite coaching line of his is play the sport. Mm. Play the sport, man. I never had anybody say that to me. I'd be like, yeah, all right.
Right.
Hey, play the sport. It's a sport. You're setting the guy up. You're taking him down. It's a game. Play the game. Yeah. Have fun with it. Have joy when you wrestle. And then just how they do all that stuff that he does and how he's able to put it in and with the ankle picks and the what I would call, you know, the over the top sort of rerouting. So I'm going to get a chance to really try to pick Roman's brain this morning, and hopefully he gives up the goods, and I'll have some more for you next time we talk. And so we can talk about Kaid Brock next time, and then RBY, because I tell you what, Kaid's was as good as anybody's. And spending an hour and 15 minutes or so with Kaid yesterday, you know, and we're very close. Like I said, he's been to my home several times, and I've known him, for almost a decade now. And I met him, he was 16 or 17. He's 25, almost 26 years old now, which is kind of crazy. And but his was so much fun, and that cowboy stuff, and he's evolved. And so I can't wait to share. Did you see the little clip I posted?
Not of him, not yet. No.
Yeah, I think I put that on YouTube. I haven't put it on anything else yet. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'm such a huge Kaid Brock fan. I love his style, and I think it's just like, it's magnetic. The style that he wrestled, it's just so like if you love wrestling, you cannot not love to watch him wrestle. Yeah. Like whether you're Oklahoma State, whatever. If you love wrestling, I could go back and watch him just wrestle. And
he's a darling. He's a darling. He was a darling of Flow Wrestling for a minute. Remember, every other day it was a picture of Kaid on the front page of Flow. But he embodies John. At least, especially he did at the early in his career. He embodied John's movement, John's motion, so people were nostalgic about John Smith, and just like, So, and he still brings that. He still brings that out of people. So, anyways, hey, let's jump on this other Zoom. This was a good one today, and let's talk again this week. Talk about these other two guys.
Yes, sir. Sounds like a plan.
Okay, I'll see you in 1 minute. Bye.